Aix-en-Provence is so lovely that various French surveys have chosen it the most desirable city in which to live due to the ambience of the special place. The modest population of just 150,000 residents gives it a small town charm, and yet Aix is big enough to provide all the necessities and comforts of urban living. And nearly 30% of the population are university students, lending an air of youthful energy, culture, and enthusiasm. And plus, you'll always find some budget places to eat when there's so many young people around. So you really have the best of all worlds. It's an urban place, and yet it's a small city. So you've got all the amenities of the walking distance. You've got a shop on the corner. You've got the cafe around the bend. There's a bar, there's restaurants, there's the outdoor plazas, there's fountains, beautiful boulevards, wonderful colors in the buildings, tree-lined streets. There's a mix here in population of university kids, there's older folks, there's working people, there's some immigrant vitality, and you're in Provence. What more could you possibly ask for? This is the good life. Another attractive square is the Place des Cardeurs, whose pastel facades surround the large central plaza, creating a distinctly Provençal atmosphere, enhanced by a row of outdoor restaurants. Cardeurs is often frequented by university students and the local yuppie crowd out for lunch, so it's a prime spot to have a meal. The Place des Cardeurs used to be just a street. It was a wide street running through the city, like many of what are now the pedestrian lanes and the beautiful plazas that are for people only. 50 years ago, there were cars running through a lot of these sections, most of these sections, but now it's been converted into this wonderful broad plaza. It has a lot of similar ambience as Italy. After all, we're in the south of France, and there is a definite Mediterranean twist that is a little different than French towns in the middle of the country or further north. There's a little tourist train if you're tired of walking. How about this miniature city bus? It's electric, it's quiet, and it's perhaps the smallest public transit ever. Very efficient. We're going to keep on walking. Little plazas with fountains and benches often accent the intersections of these various paths. This is French living and urban planning at its best. Here we have a very typical street in the heart of town, Rue Bougon, and it's just one block long and yet quite fascinating in its own right. There's a slight curve to it. It's got protected sidewalk areas for pedestrians, and yet there's a lane down the middle, so there's some vehicle access, but you really don't see cars going through here. It is a restricted historic area. This kind of vital mixture creates an ambiance that modern city planners are striving to recreate, and yet here it just sort of happened naturally. It's grown up over the centuries. People created cities from the ground up. You've got your shops on the ground floor, and people live upstairs. And today, in our old and decaying downtowns, in the modern Western world, in America, for example, we're now trying to rediscover this very humanistic way of living. Place des Trois Ormeaux is an especially beautiful little square with this wonderful fountain. It's working, it's clean, there's interesting buildings all around it. The French consider Aix to be the most desirable city in the country in which to live. Specifically, if they could retire anywhere in France, they would choose Aix. And I do believe that in today's program, we have proven their case. Don't tell anybody else, but we might have found the most beautiful town in the world. Well, that's a brief look at Aix. We'll show you more scenes of this beautiful town in other episodes.